So I'm just going to make this video kind of impromptu and just to get it out there because, to be honest, I've been being a coward, and there's plenty of excuses or things I can say to justify my position. Like, for example, maybe nobody wants to really hear about this topic. Maybe nobody else has been through it. But I know for a fact there's plenty of people that have had some dealings with some dark forces. And so what I want to do is kind of talk about the things that I've learned and some of the things I've been through to kind of help others navigate a situation that you might be in right now currently, or that you might go through or experience in the future, because this stuff is real. So the things that I know and I've learned, I had to pay a whole lot of sweat, blood, and tears for the knowledge that I've acquired. And I'm not speaking figuratively, literally. And if going through all that I can possibly help another person out, then maybe it all was not in vain. So let's talk about some of the basics. Now, I know that everybody don't believe in, demons or ghosts and spirits and all that, and that's fine. Um, because what I noticed today is that a whole lot of people believe in narcissists. They don't have any problem in pointing out, identifying, and label somebody as a narcissist, even though the truth of the matter is that if you actually put a narcissist and traditionally speaking, the attributes of a demon side by side, they line up pretty much unequivocally. So, um, without going all off the deep end, and I just want to I don't want to get too deep on this conversation right now, but let's just say the best way I could describe most demons that I've dealt with personally and that I've experienced is, think of them like a parasite. As simple as that. And if the word demon is too crazy or too taboo to talk about, let's just call them dark parasites. And the reason why they are really the embodiment, and a parasite describes them, is because from what I know about them is that I think they need a host to live and to feed off of and operate. Meaning that a lot of times they're not necessarily trying to kill the host or the person they attach to all the way out, because they won't have nothing to feed off of. But at the same time, they are malevolent. They're not good. They have a whole lot of bad and sometimes very negative side effects. So, um, so these dark parasites, one of the first things as far as like identifying them And if anybody just that comes in like now or later, if they have a question, uh, if they have a question and they want to ask me, I will try to answer to the best of my knowledge, because this stuff is real, and it can have some really bad consequences. All right, so let's talk about some of the ways to identify these dark parasites. Well, one of the best ways, in my opinion, to know that you're dealing with somebody that may be a host to a dark parasite is if they embody one or more or even several of these particular attributes. All right, and I'm gonna go over them, and kind of like the template that I use is what's found in the Bible. um Man, I don't know if it's in Ephesians, but it says what the fruit of the spirit is, meaning that, somebody that's um pretty much got a good nature and they're on the right path, is that they have love, joy, peace, long suffering or patience, uh, kindness, gentleness, and self control. And in my experience, people that uh, are hosting dark parasites, they cannot exhibit any of these attributes for any extended period of time. This will reveal them. Period. I've never seen a demon that can be loving for a long period of time consistently. I've never seen a demon that can have joy. Um, I've never dealt with a demon that can be peaceful. I never dealt with a demon that can consistently be patient, or gentle or kind. None of these. And so this is the template that you use to know if you're dealing with somebody that could possibly be hosting um, a dark parasite. So a lot of times, you know, if you're dealing with one of these, if you're dealing with a person that 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 that's embodying some of these attributes, one of the things that I had to realize that's very difficult and it can be challenging for, I guess, a human being to understand is that you think that you can outsmart the situation, that you can try to, especially as a man, you can try to uh, be intelligent and use some type of logic, or that you can read a book or you can watch some YouTube video and you're going to overcome or defeat something that's supernatural. Nope. Nope. No, sir. No, ma'am. It's not happening, um, because it's supernatural. And one of the hardest things about it is that a lot of times, and it's, sometimes it's challenging to talk about, because a lot of times these dark parasites, they can embody somebody that you really love. Whether it's a friend, a family member, or a significant other, and you think that you can love it out of them, or that you can therapy it out of them, or that you can every night you know talk it out of them, and it's simply just not that kind of party. And so, part of the strategy in knowing if this is something that you can deal with, or to understand what you're dealing with, is having a strategy and understand what's really going on. So, um, like I said, I don't want to get too deep right now, but I got some stuff that I want to tell, because I think it's important for somebody to talk about it. Because what when I watch on videos on YouTube all the time, you see videos talking about the gender war, or you see videos talking about what's going on in the Middle East, or the job market, and all that's cool and all that's important. But the people that's in our personal lives and what we deal with every day on a personal basis is equally important. You know, you got all this going on the outside, but who are the people that you eating with, that you sleeping, you going to bed with at night, that you going over the house every day, right? And you can possibly be subject to it, um, and it can maybe get on you. Well, one of the things is that what a lot of people don't understand is that demons can get you physically sick. Physically sick. It can not only drain your spiritual force, but it can drain your physical and your emotional force. Now, I want to tell this story, this quite graphic on what kind of happened to me. Um, but I I have to save it for a later date. But all I'm gonna say is this: is that there is a dynamic of dealing with somebody that's hosting a dark parasite where they have some vampire like tendencies. And you're like, well, what are you talking about? Well, we know what vampires do, right? What they feed off of, right? So there are some type of there's a component that you could be being drained and fed off of, and it could have some very consequential effects. And I'm just gonna leave it right there for now. I want to kind of keep this PG-13. But anyway, just on a surface level with dealing with demons, because I was in a relationship, several relationships with some women that happened to be they were hosts, and I've also had family members, and also some good friends of mine. And so this is one thing that I've seen, and the things that I'm telling you about, you can't just rely on one thing just because a person won't look you in the eye. Okay, um, if you're talking to a person and you suspecting that they might be embodied by a demon, and they not looking you in your eye, or they can't looking you in your eye for an extended period of time, I'm not saying that they're possessed, but this is one thing that I've noticed consistently in dealing with people that are embodying demonic forces. Let me give you an example. So a lot of times, because when I was learning all this kind of stuff and studying and examining it, is that um, I said, why come, you know, when I'm talking to these people, that I'm cool with, we've known each other for years, and me and this person, we're having a conversation, like just like I'm looking at y'all on the screen, but they're talking to me like this. Well, I don't feel that's cool, and I don't care what you say. I don't care what you're talking about. I know when somebody's trying to manipulate me, and I'm like, hey, I'm right here. Why are you talking to me, but you're looking over there? But one of the things I notice consistently is people, and I'm not saying that, two people got to get in the stir off with each other. I think the Egyptians, they had a belief that the eyes were the gateway to the soul. I don't know about that, but I know there's something tangible that can be discerned when you can look a person in their eye and kind of level with them, especially when you talking about something um, that's deeper, like a matter of the heart. Um, you know, so That's one thing I notice consistently is that they can't look in your eye. And even if you say something about it, take for instance, you notice it and you say, "Hey, how you doing, Lindsay? I'm sorry. Hey, Megan Yance. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing it right. I'm sorry. Um, I say, hey, man, sweetheart. Hey, brother, I'm talking to you. Uh, is it okay if you look me in the eye?" And when you say it, they will acknowledge it, they will recognize it, and they will make a strong attempt to look you directly in the eye when you're talking to them, but they can't hold it. They can't hold it because I feel like when you having these deep conversations of matters of the heart of how you feel strongly about an issue or a particular subject, this eye contact and trying to stand on the same level with each other to stay consistent throughout this whole conversation till it's over with. Not just while I'm telling you to look, let's look each other in the eye. But what I've noticed is people that are embodied, they can't do it consistently. And one of the reasons, and this is just my hypothesis. I don't, I haven't read this on a book or seen it in a movie or anything, is that like any parasite, um, parasites in general are not very interested in um, revealing themselves or being discovered, you know, unless like they're cornered and then they have to just you know fight and scratch and crawl their way out of it. And so that's just one of the things that I've noticed. Um, Another thing I've noticed is that you cannot have a logical conversation in good faith with somebody that's hosting um, these dark parasites, and it can be one, it can be two, it can be any number, it could be a million of them, uh, just embodying a person. And so trying to reason with them a lot of times is just an exercise in futility, and it'd be a whole lot of you know wasted time and heartache that if you understand what you're dealing with, you won't have to go through all that. um Another thing that I want to say, um you should consider when you dealing with people that may be hosting a demonic spirit, is that, like I said, they're supernatural. So when it comes to intelligence, they are highly intelligent. I mean, I gotta use these air quotes. I'm saying that they're highly intelligent and smart, but the word that I like to use is cunning. They have a very high degree of cunning. For example, I guess like us humans, we have brains and we smart and we can learn algebra and calculus. But if you throw us in the middle of a jungle, we can't compete with no no cheetah or no tiger because they have an animalistic cunning. Uh, when you are in their environment, not in their playing field, and uh, these demons, when you try to deal with them with your natural intelligence and stuff, it's the same thing. You know, you trying to deal naturally with something supernaturally, it's not. You probably gonna get the losing end of the stick. So, in essence, because I just want people um, to just be aware. And like I said, I got some very um, more graphic things to talk about. But for now, um, everybody wants to live a nice life and deserves to have their pursuit of happiness. And the thing about these demons, they don't care nothing about that. They just want to feed. And what they feed on is your energy, your life force. You find yourself tired. You find yourself not wanting to do anything. You find yourself sad. Uh, and in some cases, unsuc- you know, unsuccessful, not able to keep a job, um, just constantly just dealing with problems and stuff. They're masters, and like I said, narcissists and demons, they pretty much occupy the same criteria and attributes. Um, you can't beat them. You can't beat them. You're not gonna win. And the best thing you can do is have knowledge and understand what you're dealing with. And I love you guys. I want you guys to have peace and blessings in your life. And I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.